welcome back, listeners, to the Mindful Journey podcast. I'm your host, Sana, as always. And for this episode, we are going to explore a topic that so many of us wrestle with. Personally, I have wrestled with it so much. It kind of brought me to a point of having anxiety, actually. You know what? Calories. For years, we have been told to count them, track them, and even let them define our choices. It's it makes you feel helpless sometimes. But here's the real question, listeners. Has this constant counting actually brought us closer to health, or has it pulled us further away from truly nourishing ourselves? My guest today has been working in nutrition for over 20 years, listeners, across clinical care, health tech, and food brands. And she's now leading nutrition strategy for an app helping nearly 1 million people rethink their relationship with food. Together, we'll uncover why calorie counting might not be the answer we thought it was and what we can focus on instead. So, listeners, meet my lovely guest, Julie Ruelle. So, Julie, welcome to the show, and it's such an honor to have you here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me and thank you for that great introduction.
Oh, of course, of course. Julie, and it's definitely a personal one for me because um, this is like a few years back, and I was obsessed with counting how many calories I'm consuming. Like that 2,000 calories. Um, and the scariest part was if um, you know, by chance I'm counting my calories and somehow I see that, oh my goodness, I've consumed 200, 300 more calories today. I completely used to go into a rabbit hole, like a vicious loop, stuck, and that kind of anxiety somehow made me consume more calories than the previous day. It was such a horrible kind of cycle for me. So I'm very much personally invested into this. So to begin with, Julie, why do you think calorie counting became such a mainstream solution for health? What do people often get wrong about it?
It's a great question. I think calorie counting can have its place, but by no means is it something that I want us to solely think about, obsess about, only
Mm.
focus on, because it's only telling a very small part of the story. And where are we even getting the number of calories we're trying to consume from? Is it a
Yeah.
generic example? Do we know, is it too little? Is it too much? If we don't eat enough, we're not nourishing ourselves properly. So, one thing
Mhm.
that I really work with people to focus on is to focus on the quality of the food and nourishing our bodies. So I really like to think about adding in healthy things instead of framing it as deprivation or taking things away. So
Okay.
we like to focus on eating a whole foods diet. And I don't mean the supermarket chain, I mean things that are fresh, whole, real foods like fruit, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, lean protein, healthy fats, all in a form that we recognize them in, not processed and packaged and preserved, which is what happens to over 70% of our food supply.
Hmm. Definitely, definitely.
Wh-
And yeah, go ahead, Julie.
I was gonna say, when we do eat those processed packaged foods, they
Mhm.
actually lead us to overeat them because they're not nourishing with the nutrients and vitamins and minerals and macronutrients that our body needs. They're full of things like added sugars, refined grains, saturated fats, food dyes, additives, preservatives, and none of those things are satisfying. They really just lead us to eat more and more and more of them. So, cutting back on those ultra processed foods is a strategy of being healthier and in losing weight if you have weight to lose. So I'm really focused on our health as opposed to strictly looking at calories.
Definitely. And Julie, before we dive deep into this further, um, I'm very sure our listeners are as well. We're all curious to know how it all started for you. And was it like a journey of like how exactly it all originated? If you can give us a glimpse.
Yeah, so I was an athlete most of my
Mm.
young life, and I feel like I never really got just a lot of nutrition education. I think maybe I could have been a better athlete with more information about nutrition. When I started college, I was no longer competing in sports, and all of a sudden, I needed to learn about healthy eating and not gaining weight, frankly, for myself personally. I still exercised a lot, but I just never really learned how to best nourish my body. Um, so I started looking into this, found out it could be a career, and found out it was something I was very interested in as a career. And so I did pursue my degree in nutrition. When I graduated, I did work in clinical settings and hospitals, and I knew that wasn't really where I wanted to be long term, but I thought it was important to get kind of that background knowledge and base for my career. So I spent some time there, but I knew I really wanted to be more on the prevention, more one-on-one, spending more time with people side of things. So
Mm.
I was able to move myself to more um, corporate wellness, where I was working with large corporations and helping improve the health of their employee populations. I've worked for some better for you packaged food companies to help them make better options. And now I'm more focused on working one on one again with people and bringing healthy options to a large population of people through the GoCoCo app that I'm currently working with.
Wow, that's very interesting, Julie. Very interesting. And back to the calorie counting part, um, like I'm really thinking like, is this problem? I mean, is the problem lying in the science itself, Julie, or it's in how the public has been taught to apply it? Maybe the mainstream media, or or the industry itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is science behind calorie counting. If we take in fewer calories than we burn, in most cases, we will lose weight. The issues lie in practice. It's not practical to know how many calories are in everything you're consuming, to always be counting. You could give the same plate of food to 5 dietitians and 5 AI chatbots and ask it to estimate how many calories in there, and you will get 10 different answers. So if you wanna talk about the science, it's difficult. It's difficult to estimate exactly how many calories are in something. So unless you're in a very controlled setting, weighing food, you're not gonna be exact on the calories. Um, and I also think the mainstream media, the way yes, there's certainly things that factor in there as well, and like I said at the beginning of the conversation, also who's determining how many calories somebody should be eating? Are you getting it from an expert or are you getting it from Instagram? That's certainly an issue as well, and that's a big reason why I think focusing on cutting out ultra processed foods and focusing on eating whole foods is a very good solution for not only losing weight, but also preventing disease and living a longer, healthier life. Ultra processed foods are linked to over 32 diseases, including diabetes, depression, and obesity.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so let's say um, our listeners they are aware about this, but kind of subconsciously, like many people, they feel safer with numbers because they're able to see it. It's concrete. So, how do we help people let go of calorie counting without feeling like they're losing structure or accountability in there, Julie? What's the first step to begin with?
That's a really good question. I do agree that some people do feel safer when they have numbers they're counting, goals they're reaching towards, and that's actually something that GoCoCo created. You can take a picture of any meal that you have, and GoCoCo will estimate what percentage of that is ultra processed foods and what percentage of
Oh,
that is real food, produce, fruits, vegetables, whole grains. And it'll track it over time. So you can set a goal for what percentage of fruits and vegetables do you want at each meal? What percentage of ultra processed foods do you want to get down to across the week? And the app will actually track all of that for you. And not only that, it also provides education. So if you take a picture of something that might not be the healthiest, it'll make suggestions for you. Like next time, try to swap a whole grain for that processed grain, or next time, add a lean source of protein to this meal to help stabilize blood sugar and keep you full longer. So we're really about education in addition to helping you stay on track.
no, that's interesting. So it's like image recognition, and suggestion based as well. And
Yes.
it's like a custom one because everyone will have their own preferences or allergies as well. So how exactly it works? Like let's say I'm a user in there. So what's the first step in there? Like I have to um, share the details in there, my dietary preferences,
Yeah.
let's say food I'm allergic to. How exactly it starts, Julie?
Yeah, there's a small onboarding process where it asks you some questions about what your goals are. Is it to manage weight? Is it to manage your blood sugar? Um, is it to simply decrease the amount of ultra processed foods in your diet? So you set some goals at the start, and then it sets up like a customized sort of template for you personally with goals for how many percentages of fruits and vegetables, et cetera. And then you're tracking and you're working towards those goals.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think there's definitely a balance between structure and freedom as well. I mean, of course, it means that, we do have a choice in here. Like, we
Yes.
can trust ourselves again, which can be sometimes really difficult in such scenarios.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's important is we're providing information. So we're saying, that is an ultra processed food. We'll tell you what the ultra processed markers are in that food. Is it food dyes? Is it additives? What's in there? What can they do to us? Maybe why we should avoid them, but then ultimately the choice is up to you. If you think, that's a food that fits into your lifestyle, we certainly would recommend keeping it to a minimum, but you have all the information, so you get to make the choice that's best for you. We're here to help and educate, but we're not judging or making decisions for you.
Yep. Of course, yeah. That also makes sense. And do you think, Julie, that apps and tech tools they can bridge that gap, by providing a different kind of guidance? Or do you also kind of sometimes feel that there's a risk of becoming another way of micromanaging?
I think apps can be very helpful if used in the right way. I think something that tracks your steps every day can be very beneficial. Even if you don't have like a watch or a ring, your phone tracks your steps if you allow it to. So if you
Mm.
have a goal to aim for 8,000 steps a day or 10,000 steps a day, having something that's telling you how you're doing towards those goals can be very helpful. If you see that after dinner you haven't moved at all that day, can give you a nice nudge to get out there and take an after dinner walk. I don't think that that's too invasive or too micromanaging in that regard. Um, I also think, like I said again at the beginning, I think we have to be careful what sources we're listening to. Not all apps I think have our best interest in mind. Some of them might be not giving us the best nutrition and health advice. So you want to look for things that are created by reputable sources. You want information coming from healthcare professionals, not influencers. And If the influencers are healthcare professionals, then that's fine. But you want to make sure that the people that you're listening to do have credentials to back up what they're saying.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think that's quite a mindful way to look at it. And I want to bring in another aspect into this. We have been focusing on individual aspect here. Now let's bring in the kids in there, Julie as well. Now, when we talk about kids, they can be stubborn when it comes to food, sometimes rejecting the healthiest options, outrightly dismissed. Sometimes, parents have to kind of come up with so many creative ways to, get the food to inside them. Like literally, I mean, I've seen recipes of, creative recipes of, kind of stuffing in the healthiest food into something which is looking really tasty or beautiful, something which is tempting visually. Now, do you think it is more effective to sneak nutrients into meals or to make process more transparent and collaborative by letting kids choose and, kind of be a part in the cooking with us?
So I love your second example. I do
Yeah.
encourage parents to involve the children in the shopping process. So
Oh. Mhm.
even so much as taking the kids to the store and saying, you get to pick out one fruit and one vegetable, anything you want.
Mm.
We'll try it together. Maybe they'll pick out something like a star fruit, to your point, visually appealing. So maybe that's something they've never seen before, they've never tried. You get those new items home, they've had a hand in it, they feel like they've made a decision, letting them help prepare it in a way that's safe. So maybe, with a safe knife, cutting the star fruit into little pieces, putting it on their plate, eating it together. So a really big thing is modeling healthy behavior. Kids learn from what they see. So from a very little age, if they see the family sitting down together and having dinner together whenever possible, parents eating healthy foods, offering those same healthy foods and safe preparation methods to little ones, right when they start eating, um, changing the texture as they get older so that it's appropriate for them. And sometimes it does take many tries before they will accept or like a new food. It might take as many as 20 tries. And even if they see the food, that counts as an exposure. So just making sure that the parents have the healthy food options there, that those are available, um, and then not you know bribing so much and forcing, just offering it. If they don't want it that time, offer it again the next time. But I do really think that letting them help choose, help prepare, eating together are really good strategies for getting little ones to have more acceptance of new foods and flavors. And something else that I think is really fun, and this is something that I did have in my life when I was young and I do with my nieces and nephews now, is gardening. Gardening, growing the foods, so letting them help plant the green beans, watch them grow, go outside with them and pick it right off the vine when it's ready and ripe and just let them eat it right outside. That really can encourage healthy eating behaviors as well, if you're able to do that. You can even do something inside the house. If you live in climates that it's not so conducive to grow things outside, you can do herbs and small vegetables and things indoors too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful one, Julie. I think it has such a beautiful, kind of a cultural and kind of a spiritual, nostalgic as well. For adults. Also, it kind of helps you to give that um, um, motivation to cook home meals. Something like your mother used to cook for you when you felt sick, or your grandmother or your dad, or anyone that kind of
Exactly.
brings you back to your home or your family.
I agree.
Oh, okay. And before we conclude, now as we talk about family as well in here, now sometimes in I've observed this in big families. joint families. Now they can often turn into negotiations. I mean, in India, Julie, um, if by chance, especially your grandmom, she has cooked for you, um, it's like, have one more bite, have one bite. You will not get up from here until and unless you are completely stuffed. And then you also have to eat dessert. It like becomes a verbal negotiation. Like you have to finish the entire food, even if you're completely stuffed. Do you think, I don't know whether it's stupid or not, I don't know, but do you think these bargaining tactics help or harm a child's relationship with food long term?
Honestly, I don't think it's great.
Yeah. Thank God.
I you know, I I am a pretty big advocate for stopping eating when you're full. Um, Eating beyond that often is not going to yield good results. I mean, if it's something that happens once in a great while, it's not the end of the world. Nothing that we do once in a great while is the end of the world. So I would say, like, with pushier relatives, like, I know food is love for them, I understand that, but focusing on what else is love, like being around the table together, talking, maybe helping if you can help cook at all, that showing love in other ways, and just being a little bit firm, like, "No, I really cannot eat anymore, but I wanna sit here and talk to you longer."
I know initially it can be tough, but yes, I think it can be uh, dealt mindfully and calmly and with love and warmth, of course. Okay, great. Okay, so Julie, of course, if our listeners they would like to connect with you and also check out your app, GoCoCo, what will be the easiest way?
Yeah, we are going to offer all of your listeners a year of the premium version of the app for free. So we'll put some information in the show notes, I believe, but the code will be SANA so that you can enter that in at the App Store, Google Play. When you download the app, you can get a whole premium year for free. You can find us. Our website is gococo.app. You can find me and all the other team members there. And GoCoCo, just by the way, stands for Go Conscious Consumer. So we really are promoting, giving people the information so that they can make healthier choices at the supermarket. We also have a feature on the app that's a scanner where you can scan any barcode label on a food, and it gives you a score of 1 through 10 about how healthy the food is and also information why it got that score. Tells you about all of those ultra processed markers that I mentioned. And we really are we're trying to help people make healthier food choices, one person at a time, one family at a time. It's fun for kids to use too. So you can get the kiddos involved in using GoCoCo and making healthier choices.
Beautiful, beautiful. Responsible tech. And I really love the name here, Go Conscious Consumer. That's a really very interesting and very creative one. Um, and I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes for all of you listeners for the one. And Julie, thank you so much for the wonderful gift. And of course, I should also thank you because you are really helping us expand this perspective around calories, that they aren't the villain, but they're also not the whole picture. And I also feel that what matters most is how we function, how we feel, and how sustainable our choices really are. So thank you so much, Julie.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been great talking with you today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you to all my beautiful, mindful listeners out there for giving your precious time to listen to this conversation. Um, I, I believe, I hope, I mean, if you have ever felt defeated by calorie counting, just as I did a few years back, maybe today's episode gives you permission to approach food differently with more trust, curiosity, and compassion. So, until then, this is the Mindful Journey. And until next time, be kind to your body and gentle with your mind. Thank you.